Right then, lads, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. What we are doing in this video is running through Arsenal's biggest transfer targets. Yes, that's Kylian Mbappe, but he's not among the targets, right? So in this video, we'll be diving into what we think are Arsenal's biggest transfer targets in this window. There are so many rumors. Of course, it happens every summer. Arsenal are always linked with millions and millions of players. But what I've done in this one, I've zeroed down to the biggest and most concrete transfer rumors. Those that have been mentioned by the biggest sources, those that I believe have genuine interest from Arsenal. Now, there are a few players that I've actually left out because I feel Arsenal were never interested. Arsenal were never even gonna chase them this summer. This video literally helps us know who Arsenal are targeting, what positions we are targeting, and what are the names that we could end up with at the end of the transfer summer. Hit the like button, subscribe to the podcast as well, rank the players with me. We are having three categories here. The first one is it will happen. Those are deals that I feel will definitely be happening in this summer. Might happen literally means that it's between can happen and no chance. So it's kind of oscillating, right? There is oscillations. It could happen, it might not happen. It could happen, no chance. And of course, the third category is no chance. There's some of those deals that I believe, although they make sense, although they are quite interesting for us, there is no chance. And just bear in mind, Kylian Mbappe is not on this list because I believe Arsenal are not even interested. 500 likes on this video, and then we will do the best. We will do every Arsenal deal confirmed, especially now that we have entered the transfer window on 13th. Tomorrow the window opens, right? So let's get into it. Let's start off with Julian Brandt. Now, Julian Brandt has been an Arsenal transfer target for quite some time, and I think, listen, you could easily put him here in the no chance category because the rumors have actually cooled down and Arsenal are on the verge of signing Declan Rice, so we might not go for that again, central midfielder. But Julian Brandt is a name that has been, coming in almost every summer that we've had Mikel Arteta as manager. His contract runs down I think next summer, so he has 1 year on his contract. I don't think he's gonna renew with Dortmund. He's 26, playing in that position where he can play as a second number 8 for Arsenal. I don't see this happen. I don't see it in the might, I don't even see it as a deal that could happen or might happen. So I'm going to be forced to put him here in the no chance category. I think there's no chance that he comes to Premier League and joins Arsenal. But I won't be very surprised if Julian Brandt eventually ends up at a Premier League club. It's also one of those deals that Dortmund can easily see go on a free, right? Like Mahmoud Dawood left on a free. And I'm asking myself, why don't you sell him? Like, why don't you sell him 2 years ago? So Julian Brandt, maybe this season to Arsenal, it's a no chance. But I can see him play in the Premier League. I can see him sign for a Premier League club. I can even see him go to a club in the Spanish La Liga. Maybe Real Betis, right? But Julian Brandt is the first candidate on the list. Now the second one is Serge Gnabry. This one is another no chance for me. It's quite frustrating that we've had 2 no chances at the beginning of the video. But Serge Gnabry is such an interesting transfer link. Every summer for the last 3 years, he's been linked with Arsenal. I think his contract at Bayern is okay. He's just signed a new deal last summer, so he's okay. He's absolutely all right. There is this kind of turmoil going on at Bayern. Yeah, a few players might leave due to the change in managerial positions and whatever is happening there at Bayern. But I think Serge Gnabry is alright. Now, he's not played so many games as compared to the likes of João Musiala, Leroy Sané, and all the other players, but I think he's a very, very solid player at Bayern, and he will definitely stay there. Right, Moussa Diaby. Where should we place Moussa Diaby? Might happen. It will happen. I'm gonna put him in here, in the it will happen category, right? I will put Moussa Diaby in the it will happen category. He's a player that we've tracked for the last 3 years. He's a player who's who ticks all the requirements of the profile of a player we are looking for. Can play on the right, can play on the left. He's under 25. He won't go for the astronomical fees of 70 million. It's going to be around 50-55 million euros, which is around 40-45 million pounds. A deal that makes a lot of sense. And of course, Ryan Taylor was saying that keep your eyes open on Moussa Diaby. They've looked at him, they've discussed him, and he ticks all the boxes of the profile of player Arsenal are looking at. So for me, Moussa Diaby, it will happen category. It doesn't mean that we will definitely sign him, but it means that he's one of those players that I expect at the Arsenal training ground at the end of the transfer summer. And what a player he would be, actually. What a signing he would be for Arsenal. Because, look, Saka's played almost each and every game. You need to rest him. But I think Moussa Diaby is such an exciting player that he plays on that right-hand side with a very good left foot. So you can easily play him where Martinelli plays and you get the same result, all right? So for me, Moussa Diaby, I can see that deal happen. I can see my Arsenal, to be honest. Okay. Edmond Tapsoba, again, this is another player that I can see at Arsenal. Like, I really, really do. I can see Edmond Tapsoba at Arsenal. Of course, the problem with Edmond is going to be the competition. Maybe it could raise the price a little bit, and maybe the ever-rising price because the player is ever-rising in quality. I wish we signed him 2 summers ago, because then, although Leverkusen were thinking in the regions of 90 million, I still feel he's one of those players that could have been, negotiated, whose fee could have been negotiated, and we could have gotten for around 70 million. And what a signing that could have been. But Edmond Tapsoba, again, Fabrizio, saying that Arsenal followed this one for quite some time. They've looked at him, they love him, they understand him. They've been scouting him always for like 2 years. Keep an eye on Edmond Tapsoba. And we're looking for a centre-back. There's no reason as to why I would sign a player, a centre-back who is right-footed. And all the players that we are linked with, he's the only left-footed centre-back. Interesting. Very interesting. So Edmond Tapsoba is one deal that I can see Arsenal try to make happen this summer, right? We will have some conversations. We will have some talks around this deal. Maybe 70 million, maybe around 60 million euros. I can see that deal happen. And if it happens, it will be very interesting to see, does he start ahead of Gabriel Magalhaes, or does Mikel Arteta decide, whatever happens, Gabriel is my starter? But I really do see Arsenal go for Edmond Tapsoba like strongly. Mohamed Simek, it might happen, right? Mohamed Simek, it might happen. And the reason that's why I've gone with it might happen for Mohamed Simek is he can play at right back, but then he can also play at right centre back. He's played almost the same number of games at right back as the number of games he's played at right centre back. I think he's one exciting player. Mikel Arteta is looking for that kind of profile. You can play almost 2 or 3 positions, in the squad. And I think Simek is that. So I see it as a deal that if Arsenal can find a consensus with RB Leipzig, there is nothing that would stop us from signing him. I think Simek is an interesting prospect. Really, really, really interesting. Okay, Xavi Simons, it might happen. Yeah, I see that happening as well. I think with Xavi Simons, there are 1 or 2 things to look at. One, the release clause or the buyback option, which is around 12 million euros back to PSG. And he says he wants to talk to the manager, the new manager. I think it's going to be Peter Bosz at PSV. And then talk to the new manager at PSG, who could be Nagelsmann and Thierry Henry. And then he will make his decision, right? But it's a deal that I think Arsenal can play in that midfield area as a second number 8, but he can also play as a left midfielder, right winger, left winger, and right midfielder as well, right? So I think is an interesting profile, and Arsenal might look at him, although he's not among our concrete options this summer. But I mean, it's not a no chance. Victor Nelson, it might happen, right? Victor Nelson is another centre-back playing for Galatasaray. Arsenal have been linked with him for quite some time now. And I think it's one of those deals that, you know, can just happen out of the blue. Remember when we signed Tomiyasu? When we signed, which other player gives me the vibes of Victor Nelson? Tomiyasu, Jakub Kiwior, right? Those kind of deals. They're not very exciting deals. They don't gather a lot of moss around them, but they can easily happen because the player fits the profile of what Arsenal are looking for. Rafinha at Barcelona, no chance. No chance. You see, look, with Rafinha, I love him, and everybody knows I do, but it's time for him to concentrate on his Barca career. If a club has paid over 60 million, and of course, you'll have to sympathize with him. There is a club that is as disorganized as FC Barcelona, right? Barca are really disorganized. But for me, Rafinha is going to be a key player for Xavi. Last campaign, played so many games, benched Ansu Fati. Ansu Fati is, Ballon d'Or material prospect, but he's been benched by Rafinha like so much of the time. I won't be surprised if Rafinha goes on to be one of the best wingers in the in the Spanish La Liga and the UEFA Champions League in the years to come. So no chance he comes to Arsenal. No chance, no chance, no chance. Joao Cancelo, it might happen or it will happen. Priority for Arsenal at right back. Very versatile. Worked with Mikel Arteta. I'm just going to stick him up there with it will happen. And listen, I think it's the deal that financially we can do. Like, we can agree. Yes, the 70 million, no one's going to pay that, Manchester City, thank you. 50 million, no one is going to give you that, thank you. 40 million, Arsenal should grab that deal with both hands. The next 2-3 years are for us to win something big. And if you have Cancelo, Rice, and Caicedo maybe, it might be something big. It might be a big squad, all right? So for me, Joao Cancelo up there with it will happen. Timothy Castagne, right back. I'm also going to put him up there with it will happen, all right? I'm also going to stick him up there because with Timothy Castagne, we're talking about a player who is going to cost nothing, close to nothing. I think Leicester are already resigned to losing him. They won't stand in his way. If Arsenal do all the other deals and are left with no big money, he's a good option. Premier League proven, 27 years of age, that's experience, proper right back as well. I think it's an interesting prospect. He's really an interesting prospect. And it can also be that versatile guy that can play on the left side if we lose Kieran Tierney as well and back up Alexander Zinchenko. So with Timothy Castagne, I don't have a reason to doubt this still. I don't have a reason to say it can't happen, it won't happen. I don't have a reason to do that. So I'm going to go with it will happen. James Maddison, no chance. He's going to go to either Newcastle or Tottenham Hotspur. Before today, I would have put him in the it might happen, but it looks like our priorities have already been shifted away from James Maddison. Nico Williams, interesting one. We put Diaby up there, so I'm going to put Nico Williams here in the might happen category, right? In the might happen category. And the reason that's why I'll put him in the might happen category, I don't see him as a no chance deal. I don't see Arsenal failing to trigger his release clause of 50 million euros. There is no explanation for that. And I also don't see a reason as to why Mikel Arteta and Arsenal are not interested in the deal. So the fact that it was reported that we are interested, it makes more sense than if we were not interested. Young, electric, same vibe as Saka, can play on the left, can play on the right, has already had his call-ups with Spain, so there is a lot of confidence in his veins, experienced at such a very young age. I can see that deal happen. I'm not saying it will happen, definitely, but I can see if Arsenal, decide to go for him, I can see it go all the way to the end. Okay, next on the list is, who is this? Right. Declan Rice. Declan Rice comes before Mason Mount, right? Yeah, because I was looking at a Chelsea player and I was like, who is this? So it's Mason Mount. It's not Kai Havertz. Declan Rice is a done deal. We don't have to talk much about this guy. It's a done deal. Record signing for an English player. Arsenal and Mikel to have their man. So that one, it will happen. Mason Mount, no chance. Thank God. He will go to Manchester United. If I was doing a Manchester United tier list, which I'll definitely do on the 90 More podcast, I see Mason Mount. I see Mason Mount as a player who will sign for Manchester United. So no chance to Arsenal. Ansu Fati, no chance. You know, Barca have signed these guys on long-term deals and they have, put release clauses up to $1 billion. And I still think Ansu Fati has a chance to start at Barcelona. Good for him. Messi is not back. So, Ansu Fati, in my opinion, this is your last season at FC Barcelona. I don't see that happen at Arsenal. I don't see him signing for Arsenal. Like, no chance. Okay. Okay. No, Fati, no chance. Not it might happen. No chance. Right. Martin Zubimendi. Zubimendi is an interesting one, but I'll put him in the no chance category because I think we are fighting for Barcelona, who are losing Sergio Busquets. And when you're fighting with a Spanish player, I don't expect you to win the race against Barcelona. If you're fighting for a Spanish player against a club like Barcelona, no chance. Zubimendi will go to Barcelona. Moises Caicedo, it might happen if Chelsea do not bring in the serious vibes. If Arsenal bring in the serious vibes, it will depend on who is, serious. It might happen. Romeo Lavia, it might happen as well. If Arsenal fail to get Moises Caicedo, Romeo Lavia would be an interesting shot, especially that Partey will be around. Romeo Lavia will have some 2 seasons to develop into the player we want him to develop into. So I might see that happen. Ivan Fresneda, no chance. When you're fighting with Dortmund for a player who's under 18, don't waste your time. He will go to Dortmund. Dortmund have always been that, good. Ilkay Gundogan. Good relationship with Mikel. This one is interesting, isn't it? Very interesting. But I'm gonna put him in the no chance because the offers that he has received from Barcelona and Saudi Arabia are quite tempting. Okay, I'll put him in the no chance because I don't think he has a reason to join Arsenal as well. Yeah, it doesn't seem like Arsenal are on the verge of climax or winning anything big, and I think he still wants to win big things before the end of his career. He might go back to Germany at the end of his career, but for now, not an Arsenal signing. Gabriel Vieira, after signing Rice, I might just see this one happen as an extra signing, okay? Just like an extra signing. I see that happen. It might happen. Federico Chiesa, no chance. Federico Chiesa, no chance. The wages, the money that we have to spend, no chance. No chance. And lastly, such a boy at Galatasaray. I'll be very, very generous. I'll put him in the it might happen category, right? Because I don't think he's going to ask for huge wages, and he's not. He won't command a big fee to sign. So I'll put him in the might happen category. Those are Arsenal's biggest transfer rumors and transfer targets, and how I think they rank in. They will sign. No chance of them signing, and they might sign. If there is anyone that you feel I've left out or anyone I've misplaced in these categories, you definitely have a chance in the comment box below.